Marcus Harrison's hands moved over the wood with practiced precision, planing a board that needed no planing. Through the workshop window, dust motes danced in late August light while he watched the familiar figure approach. Anna Martinez came every Wednesday, 2 empty jugs swinging from the yoke across her shoulders. He knew her routine as well as his own breathing. En masse, she walked the long path to the spring at the edge of his property, the only clean water source for miles since the town well went brackish last spring. Marcus stood in the shadowed doorway, his plane making soft whispers against wood, watching without being seen. He'd been watching for weeks now, noting her steady determination. The careful way she filled each jug, the straight line of her back despite the weight she carried home. The workshop smelled of sawdust and pine resin. Tools hung in perfect rows on the walls, each in its designated place. Everything ordered. Everything controlled. Everything empty of the life that once filled this space. 3 years since Sarah died. 3 years since laughter and conversation made these walls feel like more than just shelter. Marcus set down his plane and ran his hand along Sarah's old workbench. Dust had settled thick on its surface. He remembered her here, teaching their daughter Lily how to measure and mark, how to feel the grain of wood beneath her fingers. Sarah's voice seemed to echo in the silence. Teaching's the best kind of sharing, Marcus. Knowledge grows when you give it away. Papa? Lily's voice came from the doorway. She was 10 now. Tall for her age, with her mother's dark hair and serious eyes. Why don't we help her Miss Anna walk so far? Marcus didn't answer. He picked up his plane again, returned to the unnecessary work. Silence had become his preferred language, the safest way to navigate the world since loss taught him that loving meant hurting. Lily's footsteps retreated across the yard. Marcus heard the screen door slam. That particular sound of disappointment. He'd been teaching his daughter isolation without meaning to, showing her that walls were safer than bridges, that distance protected better than connection. At the spring, Anna knelt to fill her jugs. The water ran clear and cold, flowing from rock that had fed this land for generations. She worked efficiently, wasting no motion, her seamstress hands showing the same care and precision here that they did with needle and thread. She straightened, settling the yoke across her shoulders. Then she paused, looking toward the workshop. Marcus froze, his hands stilling on the wood. Their eyes met across 50 yards of dusty ground. Neither waved, neither smiled, but something passed between them in that moment. Some recognition that loneliness knows loneliness the way thirst knows water. That he done. Anna turned and started the long walk home. Their tree. Marcus watched until she disappeared beyond the cottonwoods, then looked down at his hands. They were capable hands. Skilled hands. Hands that could build anything except a bridge back to living. That night, lying awake in the darkness, he thought about the distance between the workshop and the spring. 50 yards of dust and silence. It might as well have been 50 miles. 2 weeks passed before Anna came to the workshop door. She walked past the spring without stopping, her water jugs at her feet, her shoulders squared with purpose. When she knocked, the sound seemed too loud in the September stillness. Marcus opened the door, surprise showing plain on his face. Anna stood in the doorway with morning light behind her, turning her dark hair to bronze. Bad. She met his eyes directly, no apology in her gaze. Mr. Harrison, I've got a favor to ask, she said. Her voice was steady, clear. Not charity, a trade. Marcus waited, his hands still on the door frame. A meadowlark sang somewhere in the distance. My landlord charges me $15 to fix shelves and door frames that are falling apart. Anna continued. I've got my husband's old tools in the shed. but I never learned to use them. If you'd teach me carpentry basics, I could do my own repairs. I'll pay you in sewing work. I've seen your daughter's hems dragging, and those curtains in your house could use mending. The request caught Marcus completely off guard. He'd expected pleas for money, for water delivered, for influence with the bank or the feed store. But this asking to learn rather than asking to be given this, he hadn't anticipated. His first instinct was refusal. Teaching meant time together. Conversation. Connection. Teaching meant letting someone into his carefully controlled world. But Anna's dignity stopped the words before they formed. She wasn't begging or demanding. She was offering a fair exchange, asking for tools to help herself, rather than asking to be rescued. Your husband's tools, Marcus said finally. What kind? Anna's face softened. Just slightly. Carpenter's tools. Thomas worked cattle mostly, but he knew building. Said he'd teach me when harvest finished. She paused. But there wasn't time. Fever took him 2 years back. Marcus understood the weight behind those words. He knew about promises interrupted, about futures that never arrived. The workshop felt suddenly warmer, as if acknowledging shared grief had changed the air itself. Behind him, he heard the soft sound of Lily's breathing. His daughter had crept close enough to listen, curiosity drawing her from her morning chores. Anna noticed too, offering the girl a gentle smile. How old are your tools? Marcus asked, surprising himself by continuing the conversation. Maybe 10 years. I've kept them wrapped in oilcloth, but I don't know if they need sharpening or replacing. Marcus considered. Every instinct told him to refuse, to maintain the safe distance he'd built. But Lily was watching, and something in Anna's straightforward request appealed to him. She wasn't asking for rescue. She was asking for competence, for the ability to stand on her own feet. Come Saturday mornings, he heard himself say, bring your tools so I can see what needs work. We'll start with measuring and sawing straight. The rest follows from that. Relief washed over Anna's face, though she kept her voice level. Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Marcus, he corrected, surprising himself again. If we're working together, it's Marcus. After Anna left, Lily emerged fully from her hiding place. Her eyes shone with something he hadn't seen in months. Hope, maybe, or excitement about the world opening rather than closing. You said yes. Papa, she whispered. Marcus nodded, uncertain what he'd begun, but knowing he'd already passed the point of easy retreat. Through the window, he watched Anna walk toward town, her steps lighter than when she'd arrived. Friday evening came cool and clear. Marcus stood in his workshop, looking at Sarah's workbench with the dust of 3 years thick upon it. If he was going to teach Anna, he needed to prepare the space properly. Teaching deserved respect, deserved intention. He fetched water and cloth, began wiping down the bench's surface. The wood emerged clean and golden beneath the dust. Still sound, despite the years of neglect. His hands remembered the feel of it, remembered Sarah working here beside him, her concentration fierce, her questions always reaching toward understanding rather than just instruction. What are you doing? Papa. Lily stood in the doorway, watching. Getting ready for tomorrow. Miss Anna needs a proper workspace. Lily moved closer, running her fingers along the bench's edge. This was Mama's bench. Yes. Marcus kept wiping, giving his hands something to do. Someone should use it. Someone who will honor it by learning well. They worked together in comfortable silence. Lily fetched tools, organizing them by type and size. Marcus selected what he'd need for first lessons: measuring tape, square, handsaw, pencil, marking gauge. Basic things, foundational things. The building blocks of all carpentry. "Do you think Mama would mind?" Lily asked quietly. "Someone else using her bench." Marcus stopped working. He knelt so his eyes were level with his daughter's. "Your mama believed in sharing knowledge. She said teaching was the best way to honor a skill, passing it on, so it grows instead of dying." I... He touched Lily's cheek gently. "She be proud that we're teaching Miss Anna." Lily nodded, satisfied. They finished preparing the workshop as twilight deepened outside. Marcus lit the hanging lamp, letting its warm glow fill the space. The workshop hadn't felt this alive since Sarah's death. Across town, Anna sat at her small kitchen table with Thomas's tools spread before her. She'd unwrapped them from their oilcloth, touching each one, like she was handling sacred objects. The hammer, the saw, the plane, the chisels, all waiting, patient as hope itself. Thomas had bought these tools one at a time, saving carefully from his wages. He'd talked about building them a house someday, about teaching her carpentry so they could work together. His death from a broken neck, thrown from a spooked horse, had come sudden and without warning. These tools became orphans that day, waiting for purposes they'd never fulfill. Anna wrapped them again in Thomas's old work jacket, the fabric still holding the ghost of his scent. "I'm going to learn," she whispered to the silence. "Going to honor what you wanted to teach me." Yem. She thought about Marcus Harrison, the wealthy widower, the skilled craftsman, the lonely father. She'd watched him watching her these past weeks, seen something in his face she recognized. Grief leaves marks that other grieving people can read like familiar text. "We're in Uvista." Saturday dawn came cold and clear. Marcus rose early, lit the workshop lamp while stars still showed in the western sky. The golden light spilled across the yard, a beacon in the blue darkness. When Anna arrived at sunrise, Thomas's tools wrapped carefully in his jacket, she saw the lamp burning, and knew this meant more than just carpentry lessons. This was Marcus opening a door he'd kept closed, inviting her into a space made sacred by loss and memory. She stood at the workshop threshold, tears blurring her vision. Marcus appeared in the doorway, backlit by the lamp's warm glow. They looked at each other for a long moment, two people who'd learned that asking for help was harder than carrying burdens alone. "Ready?" Marcus asked. Anna nodded. "Ready." She stepped across the threshold into light and warmth, and the beginning of something neither could yet name. The first cut sang through wood like a promise. Anna's face showed fierce concentration, her seamstress hands gripping the saw with surprising confidence. Marcus stood close enough to guide, but far enough to let her learn through doing. "Let the saw do the work," he said. "Don't force it. Just guide steady and true." The board separated clean. Anna looked up with sudden delight, her smile transforming her serious face into something almost girlish. "I did it." "You did." Marcus agreed. Something loosened in his chest, some tightness he'd carried so long he'd forgotten it was there. "That's a clean cut. Better than most beginners manage first try." Lily perched on a stool nearby, watching everything with bright attention. She'd appointed herself assistant teacher, fetching tools before they were needed, steadying boards with small, strong hands, offering encouragement that Marcus hadn't known he needed. That first Saturday passed in concentrated work. Schaffer Bo Kongis. Marcus taught Anna to measure Measure 3 times. Cut once and watched her precision translate from fabric to wood. She understood angles from pattern cutting, grasped the logic of construction the way good students do, by asking questions that showed real thinking. Why does the grain matter? Anna asked, running her fingers along a board's surface. Wood has memory, Marcus explained. He demonstrated how boards bent years ago still held that curve, how you could read a tree's history in the patterns of its growth. You work with its nature, not against it. Fighting wood just makes bad furniture and frustrated carpenters. Anna laughed at that, a sound that made the workshop feel suddenly fuller. When had he last heard genuine laughter in this space? Marcus couldn't remember. The second Saturday, Anna brought her measurements for a simple shelf unit. Marcus reviewed her plans, suggesting minor adjustments, praising her thoroughness. They cut lumber together, the rhythm of work creating its own conversation. Thomas used to say you learn more from crooked cuts than straight ones, Anna said, examining a piece she'd cut slightly off angle. He wasn't wrong, Marcus replied. Mistakes teach if you let them. Perfection just confirms what you already know. By the third Saturday, they'd fallen into comfortable routine. Anna arrived as the sun cleared the eastern hills. Marcus had coffee ready, the workshop warmed by the small stove. They worked steadily through morning and into afternoon, speaking when necessary, letting silence fill the spaces between. Lily brought sandwiches at midday. Sitting with them while they ate, she chattered about school, about her friend Emma's new horse, about the upcoming harvest festival. Anna listened with full attention, asking questions that showed she valued Lily's words. Miss Anna, do you like being a seamstress? Lily asked. I do. Anna said, making something useful with your hands, whether it's a dress or a shelf, that's satisfying work. Iwaida. She glanced at Marcus. Your father understands that. He takes pride in doing things well. Marcus felt heat rise in his face. He wasn't used to compliments, wasn't sure how to receive them. He focused on his sandwich, letting the moment pass. That afternoon, Anna completed her shelf unit. It was simple but well made, joints tight, surfaces smooth. She ran her hands over it with obvious pride. This is mine, she said softly. I made this. You did, Marcus confirmed. And it's good work. Honest work. After Anna left, Marcus found himself preparing for the next week's lesson without thinking. He considered what to teach next: joinery, maybe, or how to plane rough lumber smooth. His mind was full of possibilities, full of planning, full of something that felt dangerously like anticipation. That night, cleaning up, he realized he'd been whistling. When had he last whistled while working? He couldn't remember that either. Lily heard it too. She peeked into the workshop, smiling. You sound happy. Papa. Marcus looked at his daughter. Really looked at her. I suppose I do. Does that seem strange? No, Lily said. She came and hugged him, something she hadn't done in weeks. It seems right. The first frost came early that October. Anna arrived shivering despite her heavy shawl, her breath making white clouds in the cold air. Marcus took one look and built up the workshop stove, adding extra wood until heat radiated through the space. Coffee's hot, he said, pouring her a cup without asking if she wanted it. Anna wrapped her hands around the mug gratefully. Thank you. Her fingers were red from cold, rough from her work with needle and wood both. The wind's sharp this morning. We'll wait a bit before starting. Marcus said, let the lumber adjust to the warm air. Wood needs to settle. Same as people. in. They sat on work stools near the stove, warming themselves. Lily joined them, bringing fresh bread she'd baked that morning. For a few minutes, they just sat together, sharing warmth and quiet companionship. My mama used to make bread like this, Anna said softly. She took a small bite. Savoring it, she taught me sewing, taught me to cook, taught me to manage a household on very little. She paused. But she never learned carpentry. Said that was men's work. My Sarah didn't think skills had gender. Marcus said. He stared into his coffee. She believed people should learn whatever would make them capable. Said depending on others when you could do for yourself was choosing weakness. Anna looked at him with interest. She sounds like she was strong. She was. Marcus found himself continuing. Words coming easier than expected. School teacher before we married. Curious about everything. She insisted on learning what I knew about building. Said women should be able to fix their own worlds. You must miss her terribly. Anna said, every day. Marcus looked up, meeting Anna's eyes. But teaching you having someone working at her bench again, it's like the room's breathing. Like maybe grief doesn't have to mean everything stops forever. Lily watched her father's face during this exchange. Later, when they were working on joinery techniques, she whispered to Anna, Papa doesn't talk about Mama very much. He gets too sad. A aching soul. Sometimes talking about people we love helps. Anna whispered back. Keeps them present instead of just gone. As morning progressed, Anna told them about Thomas. How he'd courted her with carved trinkets. How he'd dreamed of building them a house with his own hands. How his death breaking that wild horse had been quick and terrible, leaving her alone with tools she didn't know how to use and dreams that felt impossible. I talked to him sometimes, Anna admitted, her hands working steadily as she spoke. While I'm using his tools, tell him I'm learning, that I'm finishing what he wanted to teach me. Marcus stopped his demonstration. That's good. Honoring the dead by continuing to live. That's the best memorial there is. The work that day felt different, deeper. They weren't just learning and teaching carpentry. They were learning and teaching each other about surviving loss, about choosing life despite grief's heavy weight. When Anna cut a dovetail joint perfectly on her first attempt, Marcus felt genuine pride. That's master-level work, he said. You've got real ability. I've got a good teacher, Anna replied. She looked at him directly, her dark eyes serious. You've given me more than skills. Marcus, you've given me confidence, given me a way to honor Thomas that feels like healing instead of just hurting. Later that afternoon, Marcus taught her to feel wood grain with her eyes closed, fingers reading the timber's story. He took her hands in his, guiding them along the board surface. Their hands touched, overlapped, lingered. Neither pulled away. The moment stretched, warm and charged with possibility. Lily watched from across the workshop, her eyes knowing beyond her years. When Anna left that evening, Marcus stood in the doorway watching her walk toward town. His chest felt tight with something that wasn't quite grief anymore. Something that felt like hope trying to grow in ground that had been frozen too long. That night, Anna discovered the inscription Marcus had carved on the underside of her completed shelf. Built by Anna. Martinez, October 1882. First of many. She pressed her hand to the words and cried. But they were good tears. Grateful tears. Tears that washed away old pain to make room for new possibility. Storm clouds gathered in late October. Heavy and dark. Anna arrived at the ranch with nervous energy, immediately starting her next project. a cabinet for storing sewing supplies. She'd drawn careful plans, calculated measurements precisely, bought lumber with money saved from small repair jobs she'd started taking around town. Marcus reviewed her work. Found nothing to correct. "This is ambitious," he said. "But you're ready for it." Anna began cutting. The saw sang through wood. Measurements transferred to timber. The cabinet taking shape in her mind before it took shape in her hands. Then she reached the complex corner joints, misread a measurement, and made the cut before double-checking. The mistake revealed itself immediately. The angle was wrong, the length too short, one piece ruined, then another as she tried to salvage the first error, then a third, good lumber wasted. Expensive material destroyed by a moment's inattention. Anna set down her saw with shaking hands. "I've ruined it," she said. Voice tight. "I've wasted your lumber, your time, everything." "Anna," Marcus began, "I can't replace this wood." Her eyes filled with tears she refused to let fall. "I saved for weeks to buy what I needed. I can't afford to waste materials like some wealthy person with money to burn." Marcus understood the shame beneath her anger. He'd made plenty of expensive mistakes himself, knew the sick feeling of watching good materials become kindling because of carelessness. "Every carpenter's made worse," he said firmly. He picked up the ruined pieces, examining them. "See here, we can salvage most of this. Adjust the design. Use shorter panels. Make it work." He looked at her directly. "I once built an entire door frame 2 inches too narrow. Sarah never let me forget it." Anna managed a weak smile, but the damage was done. Her confidence had cracked, showing the fragile foundation beneath. That evening, as Anna prepared to leave, Marcus heard footsteps approaching. Bill Henderson, the feed store manager, walked up looking uncomfortable. "Marcus, got a minute?" Henderson glanced at Anna, then away. "Private word." Anna immediately gathered her things. "I should go anyway. Late already." After she left, Henderson shifted his weight awkwardly. "Look, I don't hold with gossip myself, but folks are talking. About the seamstress coming round every Saturday. About you two being alone out here." Marcus felt cold settle in his stomach. "We're not alone. Lily's always here. By Norton show. A 10-year-old child don't count as proper chaperone. Not in most people's reckoning." Henderson looked genuinely apologetic. "Some are saying you're taking advantage. Others saying she's scheming after your money. Either way, talk's not good for her reputation or yours." And after Henderson left, Marcus stood in the gathering darkness, anger and fear warring in his chest. He'd known this might come, but knowing didn't make it easier. Inside the house, Lily sat at the kitchen table, her face troubled. "Papa, some girls at school said things about Miss Anna today. Mean things." Marcus sat beside his daughter. "What kind of things?" "That she's coming here to trick you, to make you marry her so she can have your money." Lily's voice trembled. "They made it sound ugly, Papa, like Miss Anna's doing something wrong." That night, Marcus barely slept. Every option seemed impossible. Continue teaching and expose Anna to worse gossip. Stop teaching and abandon her after she'd trusted him, after they'd both started to heal. Either choice felt like betrayal. By dawn, he'd made his decision. Better to end it now, before the talk damaged Anna's reputation beyond repair. He'd teach her enough to manage basic repairs, then create distance again. Safety through isolation. The old familiar pattern. He rehearsed the words. I think we've covered enough basics. You can handle repairs now. But when Anna arrived Saturday morning, she carried something wrapped in careful cloth. Before Marcus could speak, she unwrapped a small wooden box, exquisite joinery, delicate hinges perfectly fitted. Thomas's initials carved in the lid. I made this, Anna said quietly. Used everything you taught me. Made it alone. In my kitchen at night, she opened the box to show Thomas's tools nestled inside. Made it to honor him, to show that I finished something he wanted to teach me. Marcus held the box, recognizing master-level craftsmanship. You made this yourself. Every bit. Anna met his eyes. You gave me more than carpentry skills. Marcus, you gave me a way to remember Thomas that feels like completion, instead of just loss. Lily appeared then, carrying something herself, Sarah's old sewing basket, untouched since her mother's death 3 years before. Miss Anna, Lily said, voice small but determined. Would you teach me to sew Papa's teaching you his skill? Maybe you could teach us yours. In the moment crystallized everything. Marcus could reject this offering, could choose safety and distance, or he could choose courage, choose life, choose the connection that frightened him precisely because it mattered. He set down the box carefully. The town can think what it wants, he said, surprised by the steadiness in his voice. What we're doing here, teaching, learning, honoring the people we loved by continuing to grow, that's good and right. Anyone who can't see that isn't worth listening to. Anna's eyes filled with tears. You mean it? I do. Marcus looked at his daughter, then at Anna. Saturdays continue, and if folks have questions, they can ask me directly. I'd later that afternoon. Marcus taught Anna to read wood grain by touch alone. Eyes closed, fingers tracing the timber's story. Amai. He guided her hands with his own. And when they touched this time, they both let the moment linger, acknowledging what neither was quite ready to name. Outside, the storm clouds broke. Rain fell clean and cold, washing dust from the air. Leaving everything fresh and new, Marcus woke Monday morning with his decision reversed again. In the dark before dawn, all his courage from Saturday evaporated, replaced by cold fear. Anna didn't deserve to have her reputation shredded because of his loneliness. Lily didn't deserve to face worse teasing at school. Better to end it cleanly. Quickly, before more damage was done, he spent the week rehearsing his speech, making it sound reasonable rather than cowardly. You've learned enough basics to handle repairs now. No need to keep taking up your Saturdays. By Friday evening, he had the words memorized. Simple, clean, final. Saturday morning came cold and bright. Anna arrived early, carrying something that made Marcus's prepared speech die in his throat. She held a wooden box, larger than the first one, and her face glowed with quiet pride. I wanted to show you something before we start today, Anna said. She set the box on the workbench, running her hands over its surface with obvious affection. I've been working on this all week. Marcus moved closer. The box was beautiful dovetail joints perfectly fitted. Lid with brass hinges she'd installed herself. The whole thing sanded smooth and oiled to bring out the wood's natural grain. On the lid, carved with careful precision, Sarah Harrison's tools, honored by those who learn. Odd, I thought, Anna said softly. Maybe Lily would like to have her mama's sewing tools in something special. Something that shows how much Sarah's teaching meant, even to someone who never met her. Marcus couldn't speak. His carefully prepared rejection dissolved completely, replaced by something that felt like his chest was breaking open. This woman, the seamstress who'd walked 2 miles for water, had spent her evenings building something to honor his dead wife, to comfort his daughter, to bridge the terrible gap that grief had created. "You made this for Lily," he finally managed. "For Sarah, really," Anna said, "and for you. To show that teaching doesn't end when the teacher's gone. It keeps living in everyone who learned." Before Marcus could respond, Lily appeared in the workshop doorway. She stopped, staring at the box, at the carved words, at Anna's gentle smile. Tears started down the girl's cheeks immediately. "Miss Anna," Lily whispered, "you made this for Mama." "For you," Anna corrected gently. "To keep her things safe. To remember that she taught people to be strong and capable." She glanced at Marcus. "Your papa's been doing the same for me." Lily crossed the workshop quickly and wrapped her arms around Anna. Crying openly now. Anna held the girl, stroking her hair, letting her release grief that had been dammed up too long. Marcus watched, his own eyes burning, seeing his daughter find comfort. He hadn't known how to give. After a long moment, Lily pulled back, wiping her eyes. "Papa was going to tell you not to come anymore," she said, with a child's devastating honesty. "I heard him practicing the words, but he shouldn't. You make him smile. You make us feel like a family again." Anna looked at Marcus, her expression unreadable. "Wait, is that true?" Marcus felt his face heat. "I was afraid," he admitted. "Afraid of the gossip hurting you. Afraid of—" He stopped, searching for truth beneath the fear. "Afraid of losing someone again if I let myself care." "And now?" Anna asked quietly. Marcus looked at his daughter, at her tear-stained face and hopeful eyes. He looked at Anna, at her calloused hands and patient dignity. He looked at the box she'd built, the care and skill evident in every joint, built to honor a woman she'd never met because she understood what teaching meant. "Now I remember what Sarah used to say." Marcus said, "That the world's always got opinions. But the question is, which voice matters more, theirs or yours?" He took a breath. "This matters. Teaching you. Learning from you. Watching Lily bloom because you're here. That's real and good. Anyone who wants to make it ugly says more about themselves than about us." The town will keep talking," Anna warned. "Let them talk." Marcus felt certainty settle in his bones. "What we're building here, it's worth defending." Lily moved to stand beside her father. "Miss Anna's teaching me sewing," she announced, as if daring the world to object. "Papa's teaching her building. That's what neighbors do. Anybody who thinks that's wrong probably doesn't share much themselves." Anna laughed, surprised and delighted. "You've got your mama's fire. I think—" They worked that afternoon with something changed between them. The fear had burned away, leaving space for something stronger. Marcus taught Anna complex joinery, watching her capable hands master techniques that took most students months to learn. Hadordina Jurassisau. As afternoon light turned golden through the windows, he showed her how to read wood grain by feel. Eyes closed, fingers tracing the story hidden in the timber. He guided her hands with his own, and this time when their fingers intertwined, neither pretended it was accidental. "I can feel it," Anna murmured, eyes still closed. "The way it grew, the direction of its strength. You're learning fast," Marcus said. His hand still covered hers, warm and steady. "You have natural gift for this." Anna opened her eyes, found his face close to hers. I have a good teacher. They stood that way for a moment. The workshop quiet except for wind outside and the pop of wood in the stove. Lily watched from across the room, smiling like she knew secrets adults had forgotten. That evening, as Anna prepared to leave, Marcus walked her to the edge of the property. Lily came too, proper and present, but giving them space for words. Thank you. Marcus said, for the box, for understanding, for... He paused, searching for words adequate to the feeling. For teaching me that asking for help takes courage, that letting people in isn't weakness. Thank you for teaching me that my hands can build. Anna replied, for showing me that learning honors the dead better than just grieving them. They stood in the October twilight. Two people who'd learned that loneliness ends only when you choose to bridge the distance. The choice was made now. The door opened. Whatever came next, they'd face it together. November arrived with cold wind and the smell of coming snow. Anna took her first public carpentry job, small repairs for the widow Hansen, who didn't care about gossip and needed help she could afford. Word spread slowly, carefully. Some people were supportive. Others hired her just to confirm the rumors. But Anna handled both with quiet dignity. The church social arrived on the first Saturday of the month. Marcus almost didn't attend, but Lily insisted. We can't hide, Papa, she said with 10-year-old wisdom. That just tells people they're right to think bad things. So they went Marcus, Lily, and Anna, arriving separately but gravitating together like iron to lodestone. The town watched with barely concealed interest. Conversations paused when they drew near, resumed with pointed glances when they passed. Reverend Thompson stood at the front of the church hall, discussing upcoming needs. The vestibule requires repairs, he said, gesturing toward the warped door frame and sagging shelves. The wood's rotted through in places. We need someone to handle it before winter sets in hard. In the pause that followed, Anna stood. Her voice carried clear and steady through the room. I could handle those repairs. Reverend, for material costs only. As contribution to the church, the silence that fell was heavy as stone. Several women exchanged glances. Mrs. Patterson, the banker's wife, laughed nervously. You, dear? Yes, ma'am, Anna said, not backing down. I've been learning carpentry these past months. I'd be honored to help. Councilman Brennan cleared his throat, his face showing disapproval. Church work should be done by experienced men, Miss Martinez. No offense intended. But this isn't mending a dress. The words hung in the air, dismissive and certain. Anna's face remained calm, but Marcus saw her hands tighten on her skirt. This was the moment, the public test of everything they'd built. Marcus stood. His movement drew every eye in the room. Anna Martinez has been learning carpentry from me for the past 3 months, he said clearly. I'd stake my reputation on her work. It's precise, thoughtful, and honest. He looked around the room, meeting eyes that quickly looked away. The church wants quality repairs at fair cost. Anna's offering exactly that. But Marcus, Mrs. Patterson began. I've been teaching her. Marcus continued, because she asked to learn. Not for charity, not for rescue. She wanted to stop being exploited by landlords who overcharged for repairs she could do herself. She sought independence through skill, not dependence through pity. He paused. Letting the words settle, that's about as Christian as anything I know. Lily stood then, moving to her father's side. Her young voice carried surprising strength. Miss Anna's teaching me to sew. Papa's teaching her to build. That's what neighbors do, share what they know. Anybody who thinks that's wrong probably doesn't share much themselves. Several people shifted uncomfortably. The Reverend looked between Marcus, Anna, and the gathered congregation. He was a fair man, thoughtful, and the moment clearly troubled him. You know, Reverend Thompson said slowly. We've been talking about community in every sermon, about helping one another, about the body of Christ working together. He gestured toward Anna. Here's someone offering to help, and we're questioning it on what grounds that she's a woman, that she's poor. He shook his head. Marcus is right. If the work is good and honest, the worker's gender doesn't matter. Anna, the vestibule is yours if you want it. Anna inclined her head gracefully. Thank you, Reverend. I'll start Monday. The social continued, but something had shifted. Some people approached Anna with genuine questions about her work. Others remained distant, disapproving, but their power to shame had diminished. Truth spoken plainly has its own kind of strength. After the social, Marcus walked Anna toward town. Lily stayed between them. Proper chaperone, but hung back enough to give them space for words. The evening air was cold. Stars already showing in the eastern sky. You didn't have to stand up for me, Anna said softly. Yes, I did. Marcus replied, because it was right, and because... He paused at the edge of town, turning to face her. Because you matter. To me, to Lily, you matter. Anna stopped walking. The lamplight from a nearby house caught in her dark eyes. You matter to us, too. Marcus, these Saturdays have given me more than skills. They've given me purpose. Hope. She glanced at Lily, who was watching with knowing eyes. A feeling that maybe life has more chapters ahead. I'd like you to keep coming to the ranch, Marcus said carefully. Each word felt important, heavy, with future. Not just Saturdays for Sunday dinner. Maybe for regular things. If you're willing. Anna's smile could have lit the darkness. I'm willing. Lily, unable to contain herself any longer, rushed forward and hugged them both. Does this mean you'll be part of our family? Hush now, Marcus said, but he was smiling. Don't rush things. But you like each other, Lily said, with a child's perfect certainty. You make each other happy. Mama would want you to be happy. Papa. She told me so before she died. Marcus looked at his daughter, surprised. She did. She said you'd be sad for a while, but someday you'd be ready to love again. She said that was okay. That loving again doesn't mean forgetting her. Lily looked between them seriously. I think Miss Anna helps you remember Mama better. Not worse, because you're teaching again, like Mama wanted you to do. The three of them stood together in the cold November night. A family not yet formed, but already forming, held together by teaching and learning, by shared loss and shared hope, by the courage to let life continue despite grief's heavy weight. Spring arrived gently, coaxing green from winter-brown grass. 6 months since Anna first knocked on the workshop door, and the world had transformed. She walked up the ranch road now without hesitation, arriving in Marcus's wagon on teaching days because she was family now, or near enough that the distinction no longer mattered. The vestibule repairs had earned Anna respect from most of the town. Her work was solid, professional, fairly priced. She took steady jobs, now cabinet repairs, shelving installations, custom furniture for those willing to look past prejudice to see skill. Her landlord had learned she could fix things herself and adjusted his demands accordingly. Bien. She'd renegotiated rent to fair terms or she'd leave. Simple as that. Having options changed everything. Marcus had expanded his teaching, taking on 2 young men who wanted to apprentice in carpentry. The widow Lawrence came Tuesday mornings to learn enough to maintain her property. The workshop breathed with life again. Knowledge flowing freely. Skills multiplying as they were shared. Anna taught sewing to anyone interested, ranch hands' daughters, young wives wanting to make their own clothes, old Mrs. Chen who'd never had time to learn as a girl. She and Lily worked together twice weekly, the girl's natural talent emerging under patient guidance. The courtship progressed properly. Slow. Public. Conducted with respect for propriety and genuine feeling. Both. They attended church together. Shared Sunday dinners. Took walks with Lily as cheerful chaperone. No rushed romance, but deep companionship built on mutual respect and shared experience. On this April Saturday, Anna worked alone on her masterpiece, a hope chest for Lily. Commissioned by Marcus months ago. She'd designed it carefully, incorporating techniques Marcus taught her with decorative elements uniquely her own. The wood was cherry, aged and beautiful. The joinery precise as anything Marcus himself could build. She fit the last brass hinge, testing the lid's movement, perfect. The chest opened smooth and silent, closed with satisfying solidity on the inside of the lid. She'd carved words carefully chosen. Built by Anna Martinez, for Lily Harrison, taught by Marcus Harrison. Spring 1883. Marcus appeared in the doorway, watching her work with quiet pride. "It's beautiful," he said. Anna ran her hand over the smooth surface. "It's for Lily. For her to keep special things in. To remember that people who care about her want her to have beautiful things made with love. She'll treasure it," Marcus promised. He moved closer, examining the joinery. This is master-level work. Anna, you've surpassed basic carpentry. You're a true craftsman now." "Craftswoman," Anna corrected with a smile. "Craftswoman." Marcus agreed. He took her hand, dusty from work, calloused from labor. "I've been thinking—" "That's usually dangerous," Anna teased, but her eyes were soft. "About courting, about proper timelines and what the town expects." Marcus looked at their joined hands. "And I've decided I don't care about timelines. I know what I know. You fit here, with me, with Lily, with this life." He met her eyes directly. "If you're willing, I'd like to make it official, ask you proper." Anna felt tears prick her eyes. Marcus Harrison. "Are you proposing to me in a dusty workshop?" "I am." He didn't look embarrassed. "Because this is where we became us. Where you learned to build and I learned to live again. Seems fitting. Then I'm accepting," Anna said. "Because you're right. We fit." They kissed for the first time there in the workshop, with sawdust on the floor and spring wind coming through the open door. It was gentle, tentative, perfect. "Mama would have liked you," a voice said from the doorway. Lily stood there beaming. "She would have said you were exactly right for Papa." That evening, all 3 sat in the workshop as twilight gathered. Marcus worked on ranch repairs at his bench. Anna finished a cabinet commission for the Reverend at Sarah's old bench. The Vrauman for your resulting day. Lily sat between them, practicing embroidery on one side and simple carpentry joints on the other. Moving between skills with easy confidence, the lamp cast warm light over everything. Wood shavings curled at their feet like blessings. Conversation flowed easy talk of the next day's work. Plans for Lily's birthday. Discussion of whether to expand the workshop to accommodate more students. Marcus looked up from his work, caught Anna's eye across the space. She smiled at him, that honest, open smile that had become familiar as breathing. No words were needed. They'd built this together. Not just furniture and skills, but family, community, hope itself. Outside, stars emerged one by one in the darkening sky. Inside, the workshop breathed with purpose and contentment. 3 people with different skills sharing space and life, teaching and learning, and growing together. Lily hummed while sewing, the tune half remembered from some song her mother used to sing. The sound wrapped around them all, connecting past and present, grief and joy, loss and love. Marcus set down his tools and moved to the doorway, looking out at the spring night. Anna joined him, their shoulders touching. Lily came too, slipping her hand into Anna's on one side, her father's on the other. They stood that way for a while. 3 people who'd learned that teaching heals the teacher, that learning empowers the student, that asking for help takes courage, and that knowledge shared multiplies joy instead of dividing it. The spring flowed in the distance, clear and cold and constant. Anna had come for water once, walking 2 miles in loneliness. Now she came for family, for purpose, for the life they were building together, one careful joint at a time. Teaching had healed the teacher, learning had freed the student. Love had grown not from rescue but from respect, not from desperation, but from recognition of shared strength. Together they'd built more than shelves and cabinets. They'd built hope that would endure, community that would grow, a family forged not by blood alone, but by choice and courage and the patient work of skilled hands. The workshop light burned warm against the gathering dark. Inside, wood waited to be shaped, skills waited to be shared, tomorrows waited to be built. And in the quiet satisfaction of good work and good company, 3 hearts beat steady and content, finally home.